Beautiful view down from the hillside. This is not a camera on a crane. This is a camera stood on the grass banks around the track here at Salzburg. 15 minutes of repair time starts in under 20 seconds. And all eyes on car number 4. That big long breaker bar will be the one that is used to tighten up the wheel nuts on Alexei Dudicalo's car. That's where we're going to have our commentary position next. Yeah, that's a great little bar up on the hillside, absolutely perfect for us. And the repair time has started, 50 minutes. Track is already up to 50 degrees, and again the temperature's still climbing. It's just a beautiful weekend here. Mehdi Benani's team are going to straighten out his car. The thing they're hanging on the front mat allows them to check the alignment of the front and the rear wheels. It's fairly straightforward, fairly mechanical, but when you've had a bit of a side-to-side biff, you don't want the car going out, turning sharp right, but not wanting to go left.
Yeah, it's what Ben will refer to, was explaining something on the website a while back with the toes of the car, how much the front and rear wheels either stick out or stick in, and literally to a millimetre or half a millimetre, it has a dramatic effect on the handling of the car, the braking, the traction, but also tyre wear as well. And if they're worried about tyre wear around here, they've got to be also straight line speed. If you've got wheels towing in or towing out, you're scrubby. They're trying to pull away from where the car wants to go, and it'll scrub speed down these ultra fast long straights.
Well, that may get a bit of gaffer tape in the end just to stop it tearing off in the wind, and it's the tyre stack that did the damage on the left, but contact with Mehdi Benani's BMW that did the damage to the steering arm of Alexei Dudicalo's red and white Seat. And then he got an added tap there from Norbert Michelis, who, from his onboard, as we see, has no chance of avoiding all of this.
Now, I think Dudicalo should have been aware that Benani was inside him. If a driver at this level, you should be aware the cars are around you, and he was down to his B-pillar, so he just turned in on him. Yeah. So he was the victim of his own...
So now this is the team trying to repair that right front corner. Car is up in the air. No, this is when they brought it back into the pits. So that was, pictures of it coming back into the pits. Grid is already full, and there is I was going to use a word that I probably shouldn't use, broken drive shaft. It rhymes with crackered. So that will come out, front corner will come off, the hub and everything, and they'll be having a good look at the suspension arms, steering arms, and everything else. And as that goes on, Ben Constangiris is down with Mehdi Benani.
Mehdi, we're going to show you the accident that you had there with Alexei Dudicalo, side by side into the chicane. Very difficult.
Yeah, it's very difficult, but he's seeing me now, and I am inside, and we can go out easy, 2 cars from this chicane, and he pushed me out. Look, here we are enter, and he took another time, like 3 times he turned to my car to push me out. I think it was not good for race, because look here, yeah. For me, I think we need to keep the car for race, because it's racing. If I overtake him, he can overtake me another time, but not like this, not like this. And now he pushed me out directly. It was not fair.
How is the car? Have you got much damage?
The rear is a little bit touched, but I think they're gonna find solution for repair for going the second race.
Thanks, Mehdi.
Well, lots of work going on Alexei Dudicalo's car. Pole position for race 2 is at stake. It may not necessarily guarantee a win, but guarantee you're not going to get a win if you're not there on the grid. You can see the new drive shaft is already in, and they're working on the suspension arm, steering arm. Great camera shot from underneath to show you just if you look underneath your own road car, almost everything would be hidden by protective panels and covered over, whereas for a race car, of course, the thing you want most of all is access. Grass, bits of damaged drive shaft, splines and hubs, all ripped out as quickly as possible. Engineers Matt and Neil will be really working hard. It's hot and nasty under there.
It's not just a steering arm, that is it? It's slightly more in depth than just a simple steering arm that's been snagged.
Yeah, that was definitely the drive shaft had broken there as well. And hoping to have a little bit of news about Darrell Young. If we get an update, we will bring it to you. Don't think he was badly injured, just that maybe tweaked his neck or was feeling a bit odd after his off, and so they took him down to the
I don't
infield
understand
care
what
centre.
happened there, because I mean, it didn't even look as though he touched the barrier from the bodywork side of the car.
Again,
but his front wheel was broken.
Yeah, don't know quite how that all happened. We didn't see all of it, so we'll have to wait and see. Meanwhile, as the work goes on, Ben Constangirou's down with Alexei Dudicalo.
Alexei, the guys are working really hard on your car. Mehdi says that it was your fault. Take a look at the photos and see what you think.
I say it's his fault because he pushed me in my right door, and after he broke my drive shaft, I can't turn, touch all the wheel, and after push him.
So you're saying at the second part of the chicane there, you didn't have any steering because it was broken?
Yes. I think he don't have a space. I don't know. His mistakes, I don't know.
So now you've got to try and keep calm as the guys fix the car. Do you think you'll be out on the pole position?
Yes, I hope we go to first grid.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, I hope so too. I mean, you know, that incident, Matt, had all the hallmarks of 6 and 1, half a dozen of the other. And when you are under such pressure to produce a pass here, it is very difficult. You know, sometimes it doesn't quite play out the way you hope. We'll take a quick breather here and allow the mechanics to get on with their work as we get ready for race 2. The BMW of Tom Coronel moving through the grid here on the Salzburg ring, ready to take up his place on the inside of the front row of the grid. Or will pole position? Well, pole position on the printout is shown to be on driver's left, which sort of might be the racing line. We'll wait and see where Alexei Dudicalo finishes up. But meanwhile, let's get down to Dominic Greiner at the Vika Sport team, find out what they know.
Dominic, Stefano had a disappointing race 1. He's in and out of the pits. Tell us exactly what the problem was with the car.
Yeah, definitely. He was hit by another car. So the rear bumper was broken. The front suspension was broken. So we changed everything during the race 1 so that we can start from our current position P4 for race 2. Everything is fixed now. So I think we have a good race 2.
Okay, so the guys are just doing the last finishing touches. What exactly is happening with the car?
Yeah, we just changed if everything is okay. Just double check. And then we go out. If the toe is correct, and then we go out immediately in the next 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Yeah, a little bit of a sigh of relief. And Stefano's car was definitely in the wars. This collision with Daryl Young, but they also, he seemed to have maybe lost power or something. But maybe if it was that steering arm that was the problem all the way, then that's why he was in and out of the pits.
It's such a shame. I mean, we're just seeing Daryl there, and he's had a bit of a rough season so far this year, and he's promised a lot in that STR Seat. And he's just struggling a bit, or he's just not had the good run. Yeah, he's definitely got some pace, but he had good results, didn't he, in the Salzburg ring after spending most of the practice session exploring the gravel traps. But just occasionally, I actually like Tom Boardman. You know, if he didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have had any at all this season in their turbo diesel. Well, yeah, the special tuning guys. You know, Daryl's had rotten luck, and Tom's been in the diesel car so far this year. So
and had rotten luck. Talk about kicking a man when he's down.
Yeah, so when they're both in, you know, the 1.6 turbos for the next round onwards, yeah, they've got good comparable data to compare with each other, and hopefully that will take the team forward as a collective.
So Alexei Dudicalo coming to the front row of the grid, passing Alain Menu. So Dudicalo will start driver's left, which puts him on the outside line, running down to the first corner, with a BMW starting inside him.
I'm sure Huffy was on the inside with pole.
Rolling start is different to standing start.
Right.
Let's get down to the pit lane here from Daryl O'Young.
It's disaster for both the special tuning racing guys. They're both out of the weekend. And Daryl, a bit more dramatic for you. What exactly happened to your car?
I mean, it's a bit of a disaster. It wasn't really necessary. When I was trying to pass Stefano, I went through the shortcut and I lost a lot of positions. And going through the hairpin turn 5, Weber got beside me and passed me, and Charles Ing hit me off on the exit, and it speared me straight into the wall. I mean, there was no chance. And it's unbelievable, you know, that kind of driving, you know, we just drive around the outside, and then all of a sudden someone comes and spears you off into the wall. It's a disaster. So, I mean,
Daryl, they took you to the medical center. Are you okay?
yeah, my ankles hit the roll cage really hard. They're going to check if I go to the hospital and do some x-rays, see if it's broken. It's really swollen, but we'll see. But the car's too damaged to race, and it'll have to be an x-ray. So, yeah, season continues like this.
Well, tough break indeed for Special Tuning and for Daryl, limping away there. And, you know, Matt, when you do have an off, especially when you go into the gravel and it stops you so quickly, you can get flung around like a rag doll inside. Not your torso, which is strapped to the seat, but if your feet come off the pedals, if you're not bracing yourself, then you can get flung around. And as he says, he's worried there may be a cracked ankle. They've got a couple of weeks before Portimao. The trucks, Special Tuning's trucks, will go back to Barcelona to the Seat Sport Emporium, and those cars will be rebuilt again. And, of course, Boardman's hopefully will turn out like Daryl O'Young's in 2 weeks' time in Portimao with that brand new 1.6 turbo engine. Meanwhile, the hillsides are just as busy as before. Everybody enjoying the pause, getting ready for round 12. Surrounded by mechanics and faced by a wall of beauty. Alexei Dudicalo, the Russian, sits on pole position in his Lukoil Seat for round 12 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship. Round 12 of 24 races, and we are almost at the end of a breathless run through the European racing season. One more European round to go before the cars are shipped off to North and South America and thence to the Far East. And you can see the damaged bits and pieces on Alexei Dudicalo's car that were replaced in, you've got to say, record time by the Lukoil Racing Team mechanics. Very well rehearsed. They knew exactly what they needed, Matt, didn't they? And basically they had all the tools, all the bits and pieces. Nobody needed to make a trip to Halfords to get any spares that you didn't have, so it all went rather swimmingly.
Yeah, they'll all have, they'll have gone through the routine time and time before, and they'll all have their set jobs they've got to get through. And because they've done it so many times, knowing they're not going to get in each other's way. The parts are coming one way, they're going out another way, and or across the floor in most cases.
Yeah.
So, but it's, you know, Alex will have done his outlap and checked the thing steers in a straight line and goes in a straight line, and so they'll just be giving it the once over. They've got till the 3-minute countdown period. We're on 8 minutes 30 seconds just under now, but they've got to the 3 minute. At 3 minutes the car has to be on the floor and with zero work going on it, and if you do work into that 3 minutes, then you get a drive-through penalty. So basically your race is finished.
Busy grid, lots of team members, lots of fans, lots of corporate guests mingling with the drivers and the grid girls. Photo opportunities at every stop. You can see there Stefano D'Aste's car, fourth on the grid. In front of him, Tom Coronel. Expect those BMWs to be both looking to go shooting up the inside of the front-wheel drive rivals that start in front of them on row 1 and row 2. Dudicalo and Oriola have to work together to somehow hold back the BMWs. Thiago Montero lines up third back on the driver's left, and Gabriele Tarquini behind him. So it's going to be 4 Seats in a row on the outside line. 2 BMWs, Alex McDowell, and then Menu and Huff on the inside. Looking here, 12th on the grid is James Nash. Now, why would he not be 13th? Because Daryl O'Young is not starting. So Bernani moves up to 11th. James Nash moves up to 12th.
So is Nash starting on...
Puts him on the inside,
now,
yes.
Yeah.
So, well, we talked about this, didn't we, with a couple of people. You know, on the inside line, that's beneficial. But, of course, the drivers say, yeah, but if you get a good start, you go left, right, up the middle, over the top, across the grass, whatever you need to capitalise on the row of cars in front of you. So starting on the right might be the line, but not necessarily really going to end up heading to that chicane. And then we saw Mehdi Bernani, who starts 11th. Rob Huff, 10th on the grid. Top 10 in qualifying 2, go 1 to 10 in race 1, and then 10 to 1 in race 2. So Huffy 1st and 10th. And unfortunately, the entire Special Tuning team, as we heard from Daryl Young earlier, is parked and will take no part in this race.
Yeah, Boardman's out with transmission failure, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, sounds like it. Miss Austria there with the world champion.
Muller's obviously Bagsied Miss Austria for
yeah, well, she obviously knows she obviously knows which side her bread is buttered on, recognises a world champion and hangs around. 9th on the grid for Ivan. sitting there in the shade. And what's the deal with the silver blankets, Matt? Explain to fans why they've got blankets over the top of the car. It's not exactly cold.
Basically just to keep the heat out. It's to reflect the sunlight, keep the driver cool, the cockpit temperature cool, keep everything as, that you've obviously got the tyre blankets on, which have got the heating elements in. So you've got the tyres nice and warm up to temperature so they can give it full bananas on the first corner of the first lap, and keep everything else as cool as possible, including the engine.
Yeah. It's the equivalent of every French house you ever pass in the summer having the shutters closed. If you stop the sunlight's direct heat getting in, a little bit of ventilation that goes a long way. Gabriele Tarquini with a good view forward. Thiago Monteiro, reliable teammate. In front of him is Pepe Oriola. In front of him, his own teammate Alexei Dudicalo. So 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of Seats here on this left-hand side of the grid.
So who are you putting your money on to win this race then? We've got Dudicalo on pole with Coronel alongside him, and then Oriola and Daste behind them.
Yeah, do you know what? It's a mouth-watering grid, because for Coronel and Daste, there's a real opportunity to go 1-2 in this for BMW, but you've got a really strong group of front-wheel drive cars behind.
Then you've got Montero, McDowell and Tarquini all in front of the 3 Chevys.
Yep. I mean, look at Alex McDowell. His tail will be up after a great result in race 1, and he knows that a big start here. He's on the inside as they run up to that first chicane with the Union flag on his roof. He knows a good start here could see him maybe 3rd into the first corner from 6th on the grid. Everybody knows that anything can happen at that chicane, and so they're all going to be desperate to try and make up even 1 car place into it, which of course makes it even more of a pressurized situation. And for guys like Thiago here on the outside, that's the racing line at speed, but it's not blocking the corner off. You're the man who's vulnerable on the left.
Yeah, I think with Huffy starting 10th, there's going to have to be an influx of stray haggis or something for him to win this one, to try and cause a bit of upset, a bit of confusion. But I'd actually like to go with Coronel. The BM slippy, it's fast in a straight line. They go for low drag, which is, downforce isn't a factor around here. It's straight line speed. And, when Tom gets his head down, I mean, he's a seasoned veteran, and he knows how to win races and how to soak up pressure.
No flies on Coronel.
So, but you've got other serious contenders in there. Montero, Tarquini. Yep. So it'll be...
Well, and again, for Dudicalo to end up on the podium here, or for this guy, 17-year-old Pepe Oriola, to be on the overall podium, again, would be great result. They've all, these top half-dozen cars have got a chance to really put in a stonking result. Alex McDowell 6th, Thiago Monteiro 5th, who's really driving quicker than the car we think is probably really expected to go here. And then in front of them, the 2 BMW drivers, Daste and Coronel, the overtake king, who's got a lot of tape damage on the front of back of his car. And beside them, Oriola and poleman Dudicalo. And you can't count up the front-wheel drive cars. If Dudicalo gets it hooked up at the start and Tom doesn't, Dudicalo could lead into the first corner. He could still be leading at the checker.
Well, you've got 4 drivers from 4 different teams in the first 4 places. I doubt very much that they're going to be as well behaved as the 3 Chevys were in race 1.
Now, we talked to Tom at lunchtime, and he was saying pretty much that he was going to just chuck some old tyres on the car for race 1. And what does that mean? It means he's sitting on the inside of row 2 with brand new tyres on. Alexei Dudicalo, like everybody else, is using a set of tyres that has already got some miles in. It doesn't necessarily mean that Coronel will have a big advantage, but he will have an advantage in tyres as the race progresses, and that may well help him. The hillsides are full, but the grid is cleared. Spectators and everybody else back at home, take your places. If you haven't had your schnitzel and beer, maybe is now not the time to go and get them, because we are ready to wave off the field for round 12, the halfway mark of the FIA World Touring Car Championship. Well, win ugly. if Dudicalo's car is first to the flag, it will be ugly. There's the Chilton family and the rest of the Aon Ford team as they watch their cars head off from the grid led by Alexei Dudicalo. It's a great opportunity for the Russian, Matt, to maybe lead and win for the first time ever in World Championship racing.
Oh, yeah, I mean, and we're seeing Alex Dudicalo line up on the outside. I mean, the reason for that is it's a bit of a Formula One thing. Came from Formula One. It's because it's a staggered grid, so he has a slight advantage being forward of the other front row guy. But also they put him on the outside, so he has the racing line into the first corner. This is the theory behind it. I would always prefer to be on the inside, especially in touring car racing. But this is the theory and why they put the pole man on the outside for the standing starts.
Well, there you saw his team boss, Antonio Rodriguez, with the dark glasses on and the red shirt in the Lukoil garage. And his teammate, Gabriele Tarquini, starts in 9th place behind him. Beg your pardon, 7th place behind him. So may well have 2 red and white Lukoil cars well up. There's Vika Sports' Stefano D'Aste is on the grid. You saw Dominic Greiner there. Making as much of a smile as any team manager can before the start of the race, Matt, because this is really nervous times for them now. It's completely out of their power to do anything to help their drivers.
And they know it's going to be a high-pressure race. You know, they know it's going to be close, and they know the Chevys are going to hear some firecrackers going off there again, but it's going to be the Chevys are going to be on a charge, fighting each other as well as trying to get through the field. So it is going to be a high-pressure 12 laps.
Yeah, it really is. And again, you know, for Coronel, for Dudicalo, Oriola, D'Aste, they're the guys. They know they're likely to be at the front. They're really going to have to soak up all this pressure from behind. Hungarian flag, still plenty of orange and black. We're not that far from Eastern Europe here. So the Hungarians who came in force to Slovakia and especially to Hungary to see Norbert Mikulis win, here to support him again. There is a bit of a travelling. I'm not sure what the Hungarian is for Barmy Army, but it is one of those that follows him around.
Yeah, so Coronel is the only car in the top 10 that's got new tyres.
Yes.
He's saved his new tyres, so I believe he's going to try and get the good start the BMW will give him and make a break for it.
Yeah.
See if he can break the toe and make a break before one of the Chevys could get through. So, and if he can do it, he's the man. He's my man I'm tipping.
Things you think of when you can't Google them. Has Roberto Ravaglia ever won on this track? Has Umberto Grano ever won on this track? Tom Coronel might join them if they have. Here we go. Green flag is waving at the back of the grid. All the cars are finally in position. Alexei Dudicalo, the red and white Seat on pole from Tom Coronel. Watch the BMWs. They habitually start very quickly indeed from a standing start. Good getaway, though, from Dudicalo. Coronel goes fast, and D'Aste has got in front of Oriola, and he is getting in front of Dudicalo as well. And Alex McDowell making a very slow start, I'm afraid, as we saw back there from Alan Menu's car. It is Coronel and D'Aste from Dudicalo. Oriola in 4th place ahead of Montero, who flicks up over the curbs, and Muller going around the outside, and McDowell gets shoveled out there comprehensively by just about everybody. He survives intact, but he has lost a big hatful of places. He must have gone down to 20th. Further than that, he's down in 19th place. He is last as he rejoins us. We're on board with Gabriele Tarquini, 6th position. Thiago Montero right in front of us.
Muller has had a blinding start. He did have Bernani in between them, but now Huffy and Menu have latched onto the back of him as well, so he's going to have to be careful.
Now Menu's got bumped by both Muller and
Huff. You can see the bonnet. Look, the bonnet going up and down. This is the aerodynamic effect, the buffeting you get in the slipstream.
Behind Alberto Cerchi, Norbert Mikulis flying up behind him. That was the challenge for 11th. Mikulis goes the long way around the outside. Has he got him? Hard to tell from that camera shot. We're on board with Alan Menu. Did not make a good start. Down to 10th place. Yes, Mikulis, the orange and black car, did get in front of Cerchi. And Weber with Chilton wheel to wheel. Chilton was 16th. Gabor trying to go around the outside to take it. Gets the inside line at corner 11, and through he goes. You can use the outside line. Coronel leads at the end of lap 1, Matt, and as you say, he and D'Aste now have to work like they're best buddies, twins, and just break away from the fight behind.
Yeah, they've got to hope Dudicalo tries, will hold the field up a little bit. Hope he's carrying a little bit of damage or a flesh wound from the first race, and I would imagine, unless Coronel's bringing his tyres in steadily, I would have hoped he'd have made a bit more of a break than that by now.
Well, he's trying to get away, but of course, you know,
here comes Muller.
If there was, Muller inside Thiago, who's going inside Pepe, who's trying to follow Dudicalo round, and Tarquini has been jumped by all the Seats there. So Gabriele's been shuffled right back. He was 6th, he's now behind Menu 10th.
Muller could do Montero here. See the wing, then again, that is off the slipstream. The buffeting from Muller's car will be depicting a lot of that. Now, if he could, he'll drop.
He's going up the inside of Thiago, and
he'll drop on the back of Oriola.
Yeah, he's going inside Thiago. He's going to try and go inside Pepe as well. Muller could end up on the podium at the end of this race if he keeps slipstreaming his way up the order. Again, this is like 125cc motorcycle racing. You just leapfrog your way along the queue using the toe.
Oh, he's putting his nose up the inside as well.
Yeah. And Dudicalo with Oriola really looking aggressive around him, but Muller is behind them. That's the battle for 3rd place. In fact, it's the battle for the lead, because Coronel and Daste have not got away from Dudicalo in 3rd. And Muller is making incredible inroads here. Muller is 5th at the line from 9th on the grid.
Fastest lap
here he
of the race for
comes,
Muller.
having another run at Oriola down into chicane, and he's put his car on the inside. Pepe can't fight it. Great stuff, very aggressive from Muller. And Huff and Menu are carving their way through as well. They're going through this pack like knives through butter.
Yeah, but more importantly, Muller now has 2 cars between the other 2 Chevys and him.
And they're 2 Seats side by side. Montero goes around the outside of Oriola. Oriola had to get off the gas going into the chicane to allow Muller not to have a big accident with him, and as a result was slow out. Montero's there. It's too wide in front of Huff, you're right. And here comes Muller for 3rd on Dudicalo, and you've got to believe that the Chevy will just stream by and latch onto the BMWs. This is going to be a long 10 laps for Coronel and Daste. Muller coming at this rate, he's up to 3rd already.
He's going like a knife through butter, isn't he?
Well, and again, look at Huff. He's gone by Montero like he was standing still. He's up behind Oriola, and Menu with the red roof on his blue Chevy is carving through the field as well. Looking back for Pepe Oriola this time, as Daste almost feels Ivan's bumper. And that takes you back to Slovakia, where he just got inside Norbert Michelis in the final corner, doesn't it? And you saw what happened there when Michelis drilled the throttle, looped the car round.
Yeah, Coronel got a bit loose into the first part of those S's then. You just see him get a bit wide and lost a bit of momentum.
This is just one massive long slipstreaming toe. Yeah. Coronel leads by 2/10 over Daste, and Muller is coming up the inside of Daste, and he's done him for 2nd. Super aggressive stuff from Ivan Muller. That's why he's a multiple champion.
He's not taking any prisoners, is he?
I said it's going to be a long 10 laps for Coronel and Daste. Not for Daste, he's got to hold the rest off, but for Coronel, definitely. Montero is fading a little. Look, Tarquini's up on him now. Montero back down to 8th place.
It's the old ingredient with Ivan, though, isn't it? You miss Austria in front of his car and look what he can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Red rag to a bull. Here we go. This is for the lead.
He's not going to be able to resist Coronel.
9 laps, 8 at the end of this. Tom's got to hang on from a car that is empirically faster without a toe. Ivan Muller set the fastest race lap at 1:28.1. Last lap, 1:29.1 for Coronel. He's a 2nd a lap quicker in the slipstream and just goes by for the lead.
Well, Huffy's in there as well. Huffy's going for the inside.
Huffy going for 2nd because he doesn't care about Coronel. He's got to stop Muller winning this race. That's what it comes down to with Rob Huff. He can't allow Ivan to outscore him if there's anything to be done about it.
And he can't afford to hang around looking at Coronel and allow Ivan to make a break, because once he loses the toe, he loses the advantage.
The Chevys were 3rd, 5th and 8th at the line last time. They are 1st, 3rd and 6th this time. And Menu is the one who's struggling here to stay up with his teammates as he battles with Tarquini and goes by him. Now we start to see what the Chevrolet is really capable of.
They've got to be careful they don't drop off the back of that leading pack of 4 cars or 3 cars. So Menu needs to get his skates on at the minute. He's got to try and get his head down and press on.
Yeah, Menu doesn't want Huff and Muller, who are both now ahead of him after race 1 in the championship, to get any further away. What Coronel's got to do, Matt, is stay right with Muller and Huff, right up their exhausts, to try and see if there is any chance they're going to overuse their tyres. Again, Huff benefiting from the slipstream. It is like DRS. There's such a dramatic effect with the slipstream here.
Yeah, Martin, but the ominous thing is, you know, they're all predicting high tyre wear here, and the Chevys all set their fastest laps on the last lap.
Do you know what? I've heard for the last 6 years we'll have no tyres left, no brakes left from every team with a front-wheel drive car in every condition. I no longer even hear it. It just goes straight over me because we never see it.
OK, we did have sort of 2 6-lap races because we had a big safety car period in the middle, but it'd be interesting to see how they go on a solid 12-lap run.
Well, Huff last lap, 1:28.1. Muller, a 1:28.3. Huff's got a 1:27.9, but Menu fastest of all, 1:27.8, as he got by Stefano D'Aste to 4th. He's up behind Tom Coronel's BMW there with the Swiss flag on his roof. So the Chevys, well, what was their qualifying pace? Ivan Muller, he set a 1:27.3 in qualifying, and he is already doing almost that pace in the race.
Huff is definitely now manoeuvred himself into the zone where he's going to pick up a good slipstream coming onto the out of turn 5.
Well, we know, don't we, from race 1, when Huff led and Muller kept getting alongside in the tow, that it's very hard to go the long way round the outside. The red, white and black car there of Thiago Montero is currently in 8th place, with Dudicalo and Tarquini on either end of him. And here comes Huff. Has he got by already? No, he hasn't, but he is slingshotting right up with Ivan Muller. So this is lap 5 of 12, nearly mid-race distance, and the game is on for race 2 victory. And I said, didn't I, confidently, with the 3 Chevys on the podium, it's going to be really tough to see them going 1, 2, 3 again in race 2. We're not even halfway through, and we just in the background saw Menu trying to put the pass in on Coronel for that 3rd place to go 1, 2, 3.
I mean, it is spectacular. I mean, you could say it's boring watching the results, but it is spectacular to watch them come through and see them, the performance of the different cars. If they were in Britain, they would just knock 30 horsepower off them and let them languish down in 10th place.
And here comes Menu up to 3rd, and you just saw the effect of the slipstream just from that 3 or 4 seconds on board. He just hauled in Coronel's BMW, and the Dutchman powerless to resist. And even in the tow, Coronel can't stay with Menu.
No, I really had my hopes for Tom with his fresh tyres and, you know, the low drag of the BM, but it's trying to stop the irresistible forces. It's trying to build a sandcastle on the beach when the tide's coming in.
You're absolutely right. And Tom will just shrug resignedly at the end and say, yeah, what can you do? They're faster than us, and there's no way we can combat it. Every time you look like you've got Chevy in a corner, they can produce more speed. We still probably aren't seeing everything that car has got to give. There's Alain Menu's engineer, Albert.
He's faster in the last lap again, so he's right there where he can start to make the car work.
But he's going to have to go the long way around the outside. Blue and white cars, Pepe Oriola, and off goes Thiago Montero. Something broken, or did he just left front puncture?
Was it?
Left front puncture, I think.
No, I think he just locked up, didn't he?
Looked in the ground, I don't know. Maybe we'll get a look again. Yeah, look at that. Left front puncture.
No. Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I think so. I think it just went.
Could be now.
I think it locked up at the left first.
That's only 7 laps in.
Yeah. Well, ooh, and Huff through the chicane. The 2nd time he's outbraked himself. First in the lead and then chasing Muller.
That's surprising, that is, when he's following as well.
Well, of course, he's in the slipstream, isn't he? So he's getting in there a couple of clicks faster than he was perhaps anticipating.
Ivan's going to have liked seeing that in his rearview mirror.
Oh, yes. Meanwhile, for 4th place and the Class B win for BMWs, Coronel versus D'Aste, 3rd and 4th. Stefano, of course, independent trophy driver, which Tom isn't, so he's going to be concentrating first and foremost on winning the Yokohama Trophy points, Stefano. At least I'm saying that now. D'Aste should be focusing on just being the best of the Indies. He appears to be focusing on getting in front of Tom Coronel for 4th place overall. It's not going to put him on the podium. Left front puncture for Montero. It was an instant deflation of menus in the gravel as well. Same place, same reason, surely. Yeah, even earlier in the corner, and that's a hard impact, and that is driver's side as well.
They'll be on the radio to the other two. They've got to take it easy now.
Now is the chance for Coronel. Well, there's no drama because the cars, of course, are so stiffly sprung and the tyre is so shallow that it doesn't have a massive drop on that corner. But you're absolutely right. Now panic stations.
Now, I'll tell you what, they'll get the alarm calls, bring the cars home. I bet you see the lead two cars. This might actually bring the BMWs back into play.
Chris Cronin, who is Ivan's engineer, and Duncan Laycock.
Who's that?
Oh, that's
McDowell.
Di Sabatino and McDowell. No, that is McDowell. Alex McDowell, left front puncher. He's gone off in exactly the same place. Safety car will save Chevrolet's tyres. It can't not be a safety car, surely. We've had 2 cars hit each other there, and they are still at full pace. And this is going to take the chance of a win away from Coronel and D'Aste. If McDowell had gone off further round, maybe we might have got away with it. Poor Alex. Oh, my word.
Oh, he was lucky there.
No. Left rear has broken.
Well, no.
Left rear broken.
I think the left front's it's punctured, and then he's gone in and hit the left rear on the Armco.
On what? Where? No, he didn't hit the Armco. He spun off into the gravel. The left rear wheel was way back in the wheel arch. Thiago's out. Dad not looking very pleased with that. Staying at his hotel in a couple of weeks, Matt, and very nice too. One of his hotels, let's rephrase that. So this is now for a podium finish.
Well,
both of them will end up on the podium. Chevys are 4 seconds clear. 30
seconds. They are now. Both BMWs are a second a lap quicker on that last lap.
And look, Chevys are still lapping in the in the high 27. No, sorry, you're right. Yeah, 1 minute 30.
They've backed off.
You're absolutely right.
2 seconds a lap.
So the BMWs will close by a second a lap, but there's only 3 to go.
They've got the alarm.
Tarquini.
Puncher.
Left front puncher. Oh, and it may not have been a puncture. That may have been somebody else involved in that.
Self-induced puncture.
Well, induced by something. Maybe he has just gone off with that. Okay, so 3.3 seconds at the line. First sector 21.9 for the Chevys, 21.8 for the BMWs.
Please do not bring a safety car out. Let's get these BMs into the fight.
Dudicalo left front. D'Aste's having a look. Okay, now is where Tom's boss goes down the road to Dominic Grine and says, let's just work together. On the last lap, if we're in front, first and second, we'll race. If not, let's just catch the Chevys. Let's put them under pressure. Dudicalo did have a left front puncher. And that is the tyre that does all the work here, as on so many clockwise circuits, Matt.
It's loaded up for such a long period of time. It's the heat build-up with the cambers, on the inside shoulder. Oh, D'Aste's
okay, it was 3.3 second to third. It is now 1.7 second to third. Huff to Coronel, and Huff will be in trouble. 2 to go. Yellow flags, though, out at the critical turn 9, so it's going to be very hard to pass as Bernani battles with Cherki further back. Dudicalo comes out a lap behind as Muller leads Huff. Unquestionably, the team orders at Chevrolet will be hold station and get to the end. But what are they going to do when Coronel catches Huffy?
Do you want my cynical head on me?
Go ahead.
I reckon the Chevys have got the order to, you've got to look after the cars, look after the tyres, hold station, don't attack each other.
Yeah.
Now, if Muller, I would believe it that Muller's doing this and Huffy's playing the game, Muller will let Coronel get into Huff on the last lap and see if he can get another one.
I tell you what, I hope that RML have backed their cambers right off, because that is then potentially both of the other Chevys with a left front puncher. Let's think back to Monza. Remember that race where the lead pair both punctured on the final lap, Rob Huff and Gabriele Tarquini, and Andy Prio came by them both creeping on flat tyres to somehow take a win where he was like 6 seconds behind them.
I think Huffy was the final corner of the last lap.
Well, no, they both punctured coming out of Ascari, didn't they? First and second. So, well, the races are not long enough for BMW and not hot enough. And do you remember that first safety car in the first race? It did save the front-wheel drive cars quite patently.
The BMW is like a wolf pack, aren't they?
Not enough.
Hunting the front-wheel drives down.
Races are never long enough for the BMWs. Muller and Huff are going to go 1-2. It is the last lap of the race. Pepe Oriola there, ahead of Norbert Michelis, 5th and 6th. Bernani 7th. Cherki 8th. Engstler 9th. Gabor Weber in 10th place. The orange and black car at the back of this little ragtag and bobtail group. Then James Nash and Tom Chilton 11th and 12th.
Yeah, Chevy, if they can just last these 2 more corners through 9 and 10, they're going to be the real critical ones.
First sector of the lap, they have both pulled out 0.3 of a second on Tom Coronel. 21.6s for the Chevys, 21.9 for Coronel. They had enough, and now they're going away on the last lap.
It's this section they've got to be worried about, Martin. They're coming into now.
32.7 for Huff, 32.4 for Muller and Huff, 32.8 only for the BMWs. They're clear. They're through the yellow flags. Another puncture, left front puncture. Rob Huff is going to take a double race win, and there are going to be BMWs second and third. And Ivan, oh, look at Royal Motorsport, Roberto Ravaglia jumping up and down. Can Huff hold it to the line?
Huff has gone as well.
Here comes Coronel. Huff has punctured. Dastey's going to go around the outside to win for BMW and for Vika Sport. And Coronel is going to take second. Is he from Rob Huff? Yes, Huff has got a puncture, and Huff is second. Coronel is third. Wow, what drama. Wow, and everybody there, Eric Nev down, looking back. Where's Ivan? What's happened? They're on the pit wall. They were not watching the telly. They were waiting for their man to come round and win the race. Stefano Dastey. Stefano, the race is over.
You think he's a bit happy?
Buddy, race is over now.
I tell you what, these two pushed at the beginning of that last lap. They didn't need to do that.
Yep.
They had the margin in hand.
Yep. They didn't need to, because one of the most critical corners just before this, where you set up the pass, had yellow flags. And in the end, wow, look at Dastey.
Right the way around the outside.
There's a racer boy. And Huff's tyre is already flat there. It's not leaning on it, so it doesn't look like it, but you're right. He punctured in the chicane.
Is that Stefano's first win?
Oh, good question. Yes, I think you're right. That is probably his first outright win. And for Muller, wow, lots and lots of drama there.
You've got to feel for Muller. He did race hard, and he did race well. I mean, how he came through the traffic to start with was surreal.
First time. Thank you, Dominic Grinder. Yes, I found the stats page. It is his first ever outright win, Stefano Dastey. He and Vika Sport have won the Yokohama Trophy before, but it's his first race win. There you go. Look, you know, that's a proper racer. Again, you know, you show a red rag to a bull, like we talked about Muller in race 1. And Eric Neff, he's on the radio, but he's not watching the TV. He's going, where's Ivan? What's happening? Where are my cars?
Oh. How to snatch defeat out the jaws of victory.
Wow. Well, maybe they will think that first sector where they went 0.3 quicker than the BMWs was just too much.
They didn't need to do it.
Now, you see, he's such a quiet and understated guy, isn't he, Stefano? You can tell from his race suit, can't you? You know, he's just your sort of run-of-the-mill, grey, anonymous sort of a chap. Not a bit of it. Happy, come on. Let's see some donuts. Come on, Stefano. Those tyres aren't going to be much good for anything to Yokohama anyway. I'd like to see a donut or two. Well, what was I saying? Confidently, we weren't going to get a Chevy 1-2-3. Somehow we didn't end up getting a Chevy 1-2-3, although 9 laps into the 12, it looked like we should. And then I said these races are always too short for BMW. In this case, just long enough. I
put my money on the wrong BMW.
I tell you what, that's pretty impressive by both of them. Menu, McDowell, what did we have? Half a dozen, 7 punctures. Who punctured? Montero, Dudicalo, Menu, Huff, Muller. McDowell, I think left rear suspension, unless it broke as he was going off with a puncture. But
too coincidental.
But half a dozen, 6, 7 punctures. Wow. So that safety car in race 1 really saved Chevy's bacon.
It did, didn't it?
Sure, then some. But the other thing, Matt, is did it also lull them into a false sense of security that they'll have had a look at the tyre temperatures and a look at the wear on the tyres afterwards and go, do you know what? I think we're okay with this, and didn't back any geometry off the car. If it had run full distance in race 1, it would have been a very different story in race 2. But nonetheless, we have another first-time winner in World Touring Cars. Pauline Spark congratulating Tom Coronel, who could have won this one, but he knows what it feels like to win a race that perhaps shouldn't have come your way. And, you know, those are going to be rare moments when you're not driving a factory Chevy. So he knows for Stefano D'Aste, this is a massive, massive moment. And for Alain, well, Menu doesn't score. Huff does, second. Muller, 8th, also grabs a couple of points. It's going to take a couple of hours to wipe the smile off Stefano D'Aste's face, though. Yeah.
Rather pleased.
And Roberto Ravaglia, multiple European touring car champion and world touring car champion in 1987. He knows what all this feels like. That's Ben Constanduros, boys and girls. I said Bob earlier, but obviously I didn't mean that.
Steady on, you're on camera.
Get a room, as I believe the kids say these days. Well, you know, you can understand, can't you, what a sense of elation. And for Vickers as well, for the team, it's their first ever outright win. And all 3 of the Chevrolets, indeed all 5 of the Chevrolets in this race, I think we'll find in the end, had that left front puncture.
Well, it brings Huffy back into the title fight, doesn't it? But,
yes,
it does.
Absolutely. 18 points for Huff. Muller gets what for 8? Couple of points. So yeah, he was 22 behind. He'll be a dozen points or so behind now. So that's a massive step for Huff. Let's hear from our race winner.
Stefano, you knew the BMW would be relatively strong, but how about that? Your first race victory in WTCC.
It is unbelievable. After the first race, I was very, very, very down, and I was worried because I could do also a good race in race 1, but the rear bump broke and lost me a lot of speed. But in the start of the race, I did a good team job with Tommy. And then we started to improve our lap by lap, and I saw that we were quicker than Chevy in the end of the race. And when I saw them so slow, I thought, oh, I can still push a lot because my car was perfect. I didn't use too much the tires. I used the cars in the perfect way. And the guys of the team did a very, very great job because after the crash with Ouyang, the car was in very bad condition.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, Ben will be whinging on about how much his arm is aching from holding the microphone. Stefano is great. You ask him a question and you get the full race weekend lock, stock and barrel. And for Dominic Greiner, look, you know, Huffy comes up and congratulates him, and Eric Neve as well. You know, everybody at Chevrolet remember their first win as a team and how sweet that felt. And for Vickers, it's their first outright race win as well. So everybody there knows it, and big day for them, big day for Stefano D'Aste.
Coronel's going to be ruining the opportunity there. He went the wrong way with Huffy, and otherwise it could be him stood on the top of that podium.
Looked for the inside, Huff blocked the inside, and Stefano had the momentum to get around the outside. Well, yeah, again, you think back to Japan, what was it, 3 years ago in the rain when Tom took his first outright win, being chased down in his Seat by the BMW of Augusto Farfus in that wet to dry race. And again, he can entirely identify with what Stefano D'Aste must be feeling now. Marshall's going around picking up lots of shredded bits of tyre. There is your unofficial pools check. Stefano D'Aste wins from Rob Huff and Tom Coronel. D'Aste also the Yokohama Trophy winner. And look how many independents. 4th, 5th and 6th. Oriola, Mikulits, Bernani. Ivan Muller in 8th place ahead of Engstler. James Nash top 10, 11th for Tom Chilton. So again, you know, Ford not being aggressive on that camber. They had tyre left to get them to the end of the race.
Interesting that, because they have experience of Thruxton, which is ultra hard circuit, and maybe that paid dividends this weekend, because they're the one team which has survived with both cars intact. Front wheel drive wise.
Absolutely right, absolutely right. But again, you know, they don't have perhaps quite the knowledge of their suspension. We talked about this throughout the weekend, that they would like. Daste's car weeping vital fluids. It's probably just a little bit of overheating because the turbos run so hot here, Matt. It will be boiling the water in the system.
It's probably crying, Martin.
Weeping tears of joy. Yes, absolutely. Done that a few times myself. Stefano Daste wins the race. Ivar Muller leads. Well, see, my maths is rubbish, isn't it? It's not 12 points. 8 points now, the championship lead over Rob Huff. And, you know, 3 race weekends ago, he was 50 in front. Goodness me.
Just
you know, when...
And to be fair to Muller, he did everything right today. Bar pushing on that beginning of that last lap, which I think was a mistake. He's done everything and he's driven impeccably today. So it just shows you how things can change very quickly from factors outside your control.
Yeah, absolutely right. And that was the first big impact for Alain Menu. He looked okay out of the car afterwards, but obviously very disappointed. And the marshals are just about to get to rescuing him when Alex McDowell was parked in there. Muller punctured corner 10 of 13 here. So that's a quarter of a mile from the finish. Rob punctured corner 12 of 13 here. And as you said, Matt, Tom Coronel went inside. Inside was shut by the slowing Chevy. And Tom lost so much momentum, he couldn't even get by three-wheeled Rob Huff, who's shedding bits of tyre left, right and centre as he scrabbles to the line. Well, you can see the red, white and green, of course, the Italian tricolore of Stefano Dasti there waiting to go out onto the podium. And perhaps the only missing part of the equation, Marco Calovolo, the engineering director of Vika Sport, not here this weekend. So Stefano's car engineered by Roger Escusolo. Rob Huff takes second. Tom Coronel was third by inches. You know, you're not going to find too many happier winners, are you, than Stefano Daste? And, of course, he is also the Yokohama Independent Trophy winner. So time now for the winning anthem. As Dominic Greiner joins them on the podium. So the Yokohama Trophy winner, our announcer saying, is also the overall winner. So now the national anthem of motorsport, or the national anthem of Italy, as it's better known. And for BMW, the anthem for the winning manufacturer. Herzlich Glückwunsch indeed. Many congratulations to Stefano D'Aste and to Dominic Grinder there from Vika Sport. Massive day for D'Aste, his first ever World Touring Car Championship outright win, and the same for his team Vika Sport. Miss Austria presents the trophy to Tom Coronel. It's always Tom, isn't it? It's always Tom who gets the girls. And Pauline Svart down there, you saw looking on. Second place trophy goes to Rob Huff. Good weekend for Huff, first and a second. Massive point score.
He's not upset about not being on the top of the podium, is he? He resigned himself to second place, I think.
48-point weekend. 5 for pole, 25 for race 1, 18 for race 2, Matt. That's a massive weekend. And what a massive weekend as well for Stefano D'Aste and the Vika Sport team.
I love his race suit.
Yeah.
I think it's just awesome.
Well, you know, for Stefano and for Tom, they know they're not going to be championship contenders for the overall title. Stefano definitely still for the Yokohama Trophy title. But for them, the chance to go out and win a race is what this championship is all about, to go and win races. And Tom will be definitely disappointed. Happy for Stefano, yes. Disappointed that a chance to win a race has slipped by him. In fact, there was probably a chance in both races here had we not had a race 1 safety car for Darren O'Young.
But in fairness to Tom, he went left, I would have gone left, because I would have thought with a puncture, Huffy would have gone wide coming out of the final turn. So I would have done exactly the same in his shoes. And so it's just, Huffy was there, he was covering him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He couldn't cover both sides at once.
No. Well, of course, Huff still had a right front tyre coming out of that corner. He just didn't have a left front tyre. Well, he still had one, but he didn't have much air in. So for Ronnie, again, they're going to have to look at cambers when we go to Portimao, because that is hot, fast, abrasive, and going to be very tough on tyres. Stefano D'Aste's been to the Tom Coronel Masterclass as he celebrates his race win. So halfway through the season and another new race winner, Stefano D'Aste. What drama here in Salzburg. The first race, I think a lot of the front-wheel drive cars were saved by the safety car. No such intervention here in race 2. And as a result, we saw more than half a dozen of the front-wheel cars lose a tyre in the closing stages, allowing BMW's Stefano D'Aste to take the win.